The Bitcoin halving is 7 months away. So some people might actually assume that the bull market is 7 months away. This means we still have 7 months to be in this, in the trenches, basically. And so, yeah, it's, I would not really say it's sad, but yeah, it's frustrating, I would say, yes. So, actually, if you think about it in a way, you would see that it does present some opportunities. The crypto market has a 4-year cycle, so we just have a very little time to make enormous gains and go out. Well, not really go out, we have to prepare for the next cycle. And so we will have most of the gains that we wish for in a year. Yes, and that might be 2025. And so today I wanted to make a video on the one thing that we cannot afford to miss. Or, well, I cannot afford to miss because I'm not here to give you financial or investment advice. There is something that I cannot afford to miss as we go into the bull market. And it doesn't really mean that this thing must happen. You know, nothing is guaranteed in crypto. As we know, the only thing you can actually, base some type of guarantee, and I put that in quotes, is investing in Bitcoin, because without it, everything else will go to zero. But one of the things that I wished to accumulate a lot of from the last bull market is CryptoLaunchpads. That is basically how you are going to get into projects super early. You might have heard about some projects, and some people say, oh, it did 15x, it did 20x, it did 30x, it did 100 or 500x, but you don't know how to get into them. And we're not talking about projects from Uniswap here. We're talking about projects that get launched on a launchpad, and they are considered more legit. So today we are going to go through some of them and see what it might take to partake in their project launches. So, in our previous video, we talked about the 10 ways to make money in crypto. And if you watch the video to the very end, you will know that one of the people, or say some of the people that make the most money in crypto are holders. And we're not talking about just any type of holders here. We're talking about people that get into projects super early. But then how do you get into projects super early? Do you just go to Uniswap and invest from Uniswap? Well, you could do that and potentially be successful with it. But the odds are you are most likely to fail. Yeah, you are most likely to lose all your money from investing in Uniswap projects. This is because Uniswap is not controlled. So anybody can launch a project. I can launch a project. You can launch a project. Anybody, like literally anybody. It could even be a 10-year-old kid. Really. So yes, Uniswap is extremely risky. If you want to get my tutorial on Uniswap, I will link it up here. Watch it and see how you can buy or sell tokens on Uniswap. But in this video, we're looking at CryptoLaunchpads. They are much more controlled, and so you get into projects that are deemed more legit, and most of them do well. Launchpads gained awareness in the 2017 bull market and are basically a way for projects to gain funding in a controlled environment, making it relatively safe for investors. The way it works is you buy some tokens of the Launchpad and stake them. Then this gives you an allocation for projects that will be launched on that Launchpad. Very basic stuff. Launchpads may have guaranteed and lottery-based tiers. Guaranteed tiers here means that when you buy the tokens of the Launchpad and stake, you have a guaranteed allocation on projects that will be launched on that Launchpad. Lottery-based tiers here means that even if you buy and stake some tokens, you do not have a guaranteed allocation. It will be completely random. Advantage of lottery-based tiers here is that they require less tokens to be staked. And the disadvantage of guaranteed tiers is they are more expensive because they require more tokens to be staked. As we go on, you will see some examples that are crazily expensive, and we're talking in the $50,000 range. And by $50,000 in the bear market means that in the bull market, to get that guaranteed tier may set you back around $300,000. for some of them. Now, there is a huge number of these launchpads, and I will give you a disclaimer here. Most of them are scams. So please do your own research before you venture into this. I am begging you, do your own research. Do not just go into this because V spoke about it or anything like that. Know that they are extremely risky. The downside risk here is zero, and I literally mean zero. So do your own research before you go into this. Most of the Launchpad tokens value is solely based on the types of projects that they launch. So if you have a Launchpad that does not launch good projects, well, people are going to abandon it. By abandoning, we're talking about they will sell the Launchpad tokens, and it will plummet, even if we are in a bull market. So do some research before you venture into this. The first launchpad that we're going to look at is Polkastarter, and they claim to be a fully decentralized and compliant launchpad for blockchain and digital asset projects. They have a 5-tiered lottery system, no guaranteed tier, of which the lowest tier costs about 250 Pulse tokens, and the 5th tier costs 30,000 Pulse tokens. A few things to note about their tier system are, to qualify for their lottery-based tier, you need 250 Pulse tokens. As we mentioned before, is the lowest tier. Now, you have to hold these tokens for at least 7 days. By this, we're talking about holding the tokens in your personal wallet. In crypto, you have to have your own wallet, your own personal wallet, and I will leave the links to my affiliate links, actually my affiliate links to Trezor and Ledger wallets down below. They are cold wallets, so if you want a cold wallet, please check out my affiliate links to them below. In each tier, which is the second thing we have to know about this Polkastarter, in each tier, wallets with the highest tickets have a higher possibility of getting an allocation. Now, what we mean here is if you have 250 Pulse, this will qualify you for the first tier. And if you have 750 Pulse tokens, it will still keep you in the first tier, but it will give you a higher likelihood of getting an allocation. So it will increase your chances of getting an allocation, even though you are still in the first tier. From tier 1 to tier 4, there's a cooldown period of 7 days for partaking in launches. So if you get the chance to partake in a project launch, you can only do so again in 7 days. Whereas the 5th tier doesn't have a cooldown period. This is interesting because if you participate, or say if you participated in an IDO and there was another project you really liked and found to have a higher potential, you won't be able to participate in it if your Pulse holdings only qualified you for the first 4 tiers. So if you are in the 3rd tier, you can participate in as many IDOs as you want. At the time of researching for this video, it will set you back about $6,500 to have 30,000 Pulse tokens. So that this is so that you can be in the 5th tier. And personally, for all of these launchpads, I would want to be in, say, the, if not the highest, but next to the highest tier. You know, you want to get the best chance possible to have an allocation because, well, that's why you even went for Launchpad tokens in the first place. Your chances of having an allocation with this Polkastarter ranges from 5% to 14% to 28% to 49% and to 75% in all 5 tiers respectively. So yes, the 5th tier is really the best tier with this one. If I wanted to get into this, I would be getting into the 5th or the 4th tier so that I have a very high chance to have an allocation or get outlisted, as they would call it. Now, as we can see, some projects that launched here are still up by 2,600% or more for some of them. Even the likes of Stratos and Saito, which are projects I covered before on this channel, launched on this launchpad. So if you had this Pulse tokens on this Polkastarter in 2021, you could have gotten into Stratos at 3 cents. write that up to $5 and we're talking crazy gains, even if your allocation only permitted you to buy, say, $200 worth of those tokens. Yes, that will be humongous gains indeed. So yes, launchpads are extremely important. If But it's not guaranteed. It doesn't mean that in the next bull market they are going to be a trend. I just believe that more people will always launch more projects. Crypto likes new things. Projects that did well in the last bull market are not guaranteed to do well in the next bull market. And so we're always going to have newer and newer projects. And the best way, or say the most legit way to have projects in crypto or to launch projects in crypto is on launchpads. So on launchpads or on exchanges like Binance. So that's why I am strongly considering this now. The concern I have with this launchpad is that it does not have a guaranteed tier. No guaranteed tier system, so it is not guaranteed that you will have an allocation. And personally, as I've said before, if I was to get into this, I will be looking to get into the fifth or the fourth tier, fifth tier being the ideal tier. If Bitcoin actually plummets, as I think it will, if we do have that big mega crash, which could possibly happen next year actually, like the pandemic type situation, if we have something like that, then we will see this thing sink badly, and I think that will be the best opportunity ever. Now, I also looked at Daomaker, and it's actually the most renowned launchpad out there. When you talk about launchpads, people just straight up think about Daomaker. And projects that have launched here did mind-blowing returns, from projects like my neighbor Alice that did about a 327x to projects like Victoria, I think it's Victoria VR, that went for 208x, and Tenet is a project that launched in this bear market and did 17.31x returns on investment. So yes, these are really important stuff. I just picked a handful of these projects because you would be much more familiar with them. I think Alice is one of them, and Victoria VR. When I go live, a lot of people ask me about these projects. There are some that did not do well, by the way, so it's not any type of guarantee that the projects will do well. This launchpad has about 6 tiers. They have 6 tiers ranging from 250 DAO holdings to 200,000 DAO holdings. And this one is actually better than Polkastarter because it's more renowned and all of its tiers are guaranteed tiers. But then you have lower allocations as you go down the tiers with respect to Polkastarter. One of the advantages of having lottery-based tiers is that, it actually gives you more allocations, even in the lowest tier, as compared to a lower guaranteed tier. So, lottery-based tiers may not be all that bad, but with them, still, I would prefer the highest one. Now, when staking in Daomaker, you also earn an interest on the DAO staked, so it's not just sitting there. The next launchpad is BSC pad, and this is a Bluezilla launchpad that has launched a lot of successful projects, including the likes of GameZone, AIPad, AstroSwap, VelasPad, and these projects did crazy returns. We're talking in the 500x level. This is mind-boggling gains in crypto, and honestly, this is how most people get wealthy in crypto. It is either through things like these, or they straight up launched their own projects. Anyway, just in case you are wondering, Bluezilla is a crypto venture capitalist that offers funding, marketing, network opportunities, and other resources. So projects that launch on their launchpads usually do well. When you hear that it's a Bluezilla launchpad, or say the project is launching on the Bluezilla launchpad, the project will do well. Well, it would do well for people that get into the Launchpad. If you get it after the Launchpad, then people who got into it will dump on you, so it will not do well for you. The tier system is good because it has both the lottery and the guaranteed tier system. Personally, I would say that with these Launchpads, the guaranteed tiers are better than the lottery tier with the Blue Zella launch pads. Anyway, with BSC part, in the event where I would want to get into it, I would only get the Blue Diamond tier. Reason being that most of those top projects we mentioned would need you to be in that particular tier before you can participate. So again, do a lot of research before you even want to venture into these launch pads. Another launch pad which I actually consider to be as good as BSC pad is ETH pad because it's on Ethereum. It's also a Blue Zella launch pad, but just in this case on Ethereum. Now it also has a lottery and a guaranteed based tier system. At the time of researching for this video, the top tier for this launchpad will set you back about $1,800, so it's pretty cheap now. In the bull market, this same tier would cost you $90,000. So we see how crazy the bear market can get. So yes, when people cry that prices are down, from this perspective, you can actually like it. Anyway, the next one I found interesting is S-Fund. This one has a 9-tiered system where only the first one is a lottery-based tier and the rest are guaranteed tiers. And this one is actually a very good launchpad. It's launched crazy projects as well. Crazy as in they've made more gains. But that's not to say that because from the second tier is guaranteed they are cheap. No, they aren't. They aren't cheap actually. The highest tier as of the time of researching for this video would set you back somewhere around $58,000. As stated on their site, with increasing tiers you get some added benefits like private rounds from the 6th tier and above. Again, with these launchpads, it's just better to target the highest tiers, which is again why I'm making this video now. It's extremely important. That 6th tier, which in my opinion would be the ideal tier to aim for, will set you back about $5,700 as of the time of researching for this video. If by some means you are watching this from 2025, I would like to know how much it costs now by your time in 2025. I bet it will be somewhere around $100,000. There are a whole host of these launchpads out there, but if you are considering getting into any, you should pay close attention to things like their KYC requirements. For instance, Blue Zella launchpads do not accept US residents. Sorry folks. Yes, because I know majority of my viewers are from the US, so Joe Biden does not want you to make some gains. It's also important to look for signs of life with these launch pads because, as you know, crypto is a fast-paced environment, and what makes money today may not make money tomorrow, so there is no guarantee, unfortunately. It might do well in the bull run and it might not. There really is no guarantee. Apart from these concerns, all you'd hope for is to be in a launchpad that gets a very, very high demanding project launched there. That way you will make crazy returns. See you in the next video and stay safe.